This is Trinity Laban's Gold Medal Competition 2021. My name is Dominic Murcott. Every year we choose one student from each of the 7 music departments to compete for the prize. This would usually be in the form of a concert, but due to COVID restrictions, we've made films this year instead. As you will see, this has encouraged considerable creativity in the way the music has been presented, and you can see all 7 films in full on the Trinity Laban YouTube channel. Our adjudicators are Kate Caro, Head of Imagine at Intermusica Artist Management, alongside Trinity Laban's Director of Music, Haviland Wilshire.
What a stunning performance. That piece is just wonderful. I think she was the only instrumentalist to just choose one piece, but it was beautiful, technically so assured. What do you think?
Well, I was very impressed. I found it, you're quite right about the technique. I mean, the technique is secure, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It really is there. But then if you think about the colours that she got, the character that came out in the piece, the fantasy nature of the piece, it's a fantasy, and I thought she captured that so incredibly well. I just love the way she set that in almost an Arcadian setting with the trees there, so she provided for herself a natural audience.
You're quite right.
Yeah, and I just even wondered whether at the end they might just bow and salute, really, because it was such first-class playing.
Yeah, really, it really was.
Yeah.
Lovely selection of works. I thought Hannah did really well there.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think she has a lovely voice.
Very, very. And she's brought a real sense of wonder and celebration, I think, especially in the Debussy and the Massenet, with those characters in mind.
Yes, I do think the French songs were very much her strong point. Yeah. She's, the diction, the attention to the language, almost the colour of the sound matching the narrative. I thought that was really strong. And
she clearly had a very good time doing it. At the end of the Massenet, when she does the laughter, she was immersed in the character. She felt it.
I really liked the matching of the sound, how they brought out the lines there, how they shared, the sense of leadership, of supportiveness. It was a very strong performance, I think.
Absolutely, I agree. Performances by Tara and her partner there, I thought. I think her sound quality it's really interesting. It draws you in.
There's a fragility in her playing, I think. I love her sound. I love the brightness of her sound. Equally, I love the timbre of her sound. There's an intimacy to her. And
the decisions that she's taken, I think particularly with the Sati and playing around with the sort of delicate tuning, just exploring what can be done to take it away from the original, I thought was very clever.
Yeah, there's a sense of bravery, I think, in her musical choices there.
Yeah. I think the sort of a naivety came out of
Yes.
this, a purposeful naivety from her.
Yes.
Taking the listener on an experience, you don't quite know where you're going. Is it improvisation? Is it
Yes.
written? And I thought the composition, Edward as well, did that very well.
Yes. I felt that I was sharing in some ways almost a private conversation between them. It was
It's very personal.
very personal, and as such, it's really brave.
Trust your head around. It's all around you. What is full of
Wow. Carolina has really shown with those films that she's a very versatile artist and has a really original voice as well. I think I was impressed by all three. I particularly enjoyed the Bach, her improvisation into a technically very assured prelude and fugue with her own stamp on it.
I love the improvisation into the Bach. I thought that was so well done. And, the Bach playing was superb. I mean, the articulation was terrific. In the fugue, the lines, the contrapuntal nature was terribly well done.
Absolutely.
I loved the way she wasn't afraid to change the colour. I even liked the way she wasn't afraid to actually use rubato at the cadential point, just to make a point. I felt she stamped her personality on that performance really strongly.
100%. It was absolutely Carolina's performance, wasn't it? And the ligety as well. She did brilliantly.
What she's sharing with you is just so convincing, it's so compelling, and one's not only drawn into it, but one's utterly convinced by it, I think.
You don't want to stop watching.
No, you don't. No, it was good. It was good.
Two great performances by Shaohui. He really had control, didn't he?
Yeah, hugely impressive. The precision of his playing, the control of his sound is it's just compelling the way he just draws you into the precision of what he does.
Yeah, and the colours that he creates from that sound. I think especially in the Cockcroft, all of those the different instruments that he conjured up simply with the saxophone, he did very well.
Yes, and the circular breathing.
Yeah, quite a challenge he took on there with those pieces.
Yes. Maybe he was just concentrating a little too much on the technical aspects of his work. But,
And that came across.
very strongly. I mean, it's just so strong, so impressive. I was fascinated all the way through, to be honest.
You're quite right. Well, we as the audience are very drawn into that, aren't we? What an interesting piece.
Yeah, it's an amazing piece of music.
Yeah.
I mean, I just find when I listen to it, I feel as I just want to find out more. You know, where do I search for it? Because I sometimes feel that he's quite reticent to share it all with us in one time, you know. We see this bit, we see that bit, but at the same time we're really drawn into it. It's quite stark.
Well, I did wonder whether he was involved with the film decisions, really, because it seemed very deliberate to me that you could only see a frame at a time, and not knowing who was playing and what was happening, and you know, there was a journey to be taken on, but very shrouded in mystery.
Very
I think
strong.
he was able to draw a real tension throughout,
Yes.
landing up in that very rhythmic climax at the end. I thought it was very interesting.
Yes, absolutely.
Forget your trouble. Happy day. Come on, get happy. You'd better chase all your cares away. Shout hallelujah. So let's sing a song. Come on, get happy. Cheer again. Get ready for the judgment. The sun is shining all together. Come on, get happy. Let's shout it. The Lord is waiting to take.
Oh, that was really enjoyable. May really inhabited those characters, didn't she? And what a stonking performance.
Yeah, terrific, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really good, such fun. It just makes me smile. I just thought it was so good.
Yeah.
She can sing.
You have absolute confidence that she's going to nail those top notes, don't you?
Yes, yeah, it's a fantastic sound. I love her sound.
Yeah.
You know, it's so even across the whole of the register.
Yeah.
And the colours in her voice are so convincing.
And she knew how to. It was very nuanced.
Yes, yeah, a lot of gradation in tone there. And the narrative comes over really strong. Diction's terrific. She tells the story.
Yeah, I think especially in the prom song, I thought she did really well. That's
Yes.
an interesting character for her to choose, and it came across brilliantly.
When one watched the film, one had a sense of her being in the theatre.
Yeah.
You know, there was a sort of a spaciousness, but at the same time, you know, I felt she was singing to me. There was a sense of, real strong projection.
Well, I think the advantage of her being a musical theatre artist for this particular competition, she could use the strength of physical acting to get through to us as the audience, and she did. She absolutely did.
One mustn't forget, of course, that musical theatre is about acting as much as it is
Exactly.
about singing, I guess, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was really pleased with that. It was a really strong performance.
And very enjoyable to watch.
Very enjoyable, yes. Well, Kate, we've had a great time listening to all these performances, but now we have to make up our mind about the winner.
We do.
And we've had a fairly long conversation about it. It's been quite a journey for us.
It's been a hard decision. There's some brilliant performances from all seven, and the composition as well. I was really impressed by the quality.
Yes. You know, the technical control, the musicianship, the ability to project the ideas, all very strong.
And not to forget also the challenge that the finalists had this year with the medium of film, having to communicate who they are as artists and their musicianship through the film to the audience as well.
Now, you had some very definite ideas as to who you felt should win this, and we had a conversation. Then I went away and had another listen. We came back and we compared notes for a second time. And it's really, I think it's up to you now. You ought to just announce who the winner is.
The winner this year is Carolina Cury. I think Carolina, across the three pieces she did, really demonstrated for us what a versatile artist she is, how much originality she has in her voice, in her musicianship. I was just blown away.
Yeah, I would agree. I was really intrigued by her Bach playing, I have to be honest. The bravery there to overthrow convention. And I felt that her personality came through really strongly in everything that she did.
It really did, and such confidence throughout as well.
Yes, and not afraid to present something a little different from the norm that you'd expect from a piano player.
Yeah, I'd love to see more of her. I am just intrigued as to what else she can offer. You know, I didn't want to stop watching her films.
So congratulations to Carolina and to all the other six players.
Absolutely.
I felt they all had something very individual to say, and it's been wonderful just listening to their performances, and All of them, I think, I mean, they're all holders of the Director's Prize for Excellence, actually, and I think that came through really strongly in their performances.
Really impressive performances.
Yeah. And to you, Kate, thanks. Thanks so much for everything that you've done, for the time, and for the real interest that you've shown in the process and the energy. I mean, it's been terrific working with you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a really enjoyable experience, and as I said, I've just been so impressed by the performances and by the musicians.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.